Hi everyone, welcome to English 101. I'm your professor, Jamie Dingman. And the first thing that I want to do with you guys is give you a tour of Canvas so you know how to navigate through our course. Some of you have used Canvas before, or you've taken online classes before, and for some of you this might be your first time. So I want to show you exactly how I have everything arranged and how to navigate through this. Okay, so when you first sign into Canvas, you're going to have all your courses set up like this, and you're going to look for this class, Spring 21 English 101E, and it says 33907, but this is going to be the same place you click for CRN 33917. So I have 33907 and 33917. Those two classes are exactly the same, so we merged them together in Canvas. We're using one Canvas shell. So if you're enrolled in 33917, don't panic, just click on 33907 and you're already set up in my course that way, okay? So once we click on our course, this is what you'll see. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and put it in student view. My default view is instructor view, and so it looks a little bit different to me than it will to you guys. So I'm going to put it in student view. And this is going to be the first thing you see when you come to our class. You're going to land on our homepage. And you'll see here up at the top, it'll have the 3 most recent announcements, and I send out quite a few announcements throughout the semester. You'll hear from me at least once a week, generally more than that, usually 2 or 3 times a week, and sometimes every day that I'm scheduled to have office hours, I'll send out reminders. So you'll see the announcements right here. And this is where you land. Okay, so before we go any further, I just want to point out that we do have 2 navigation panes. Okay, this over here on this left-hand side, where the blue strip is, this is what we call global navigation. Okay, and this will take you back out to your dashboard so you can see all your courses, or you could click here and it has it listed, your courses in a list format. If you click calendar, it'll take you over to the calendar, and this is a really, really handy feature that shows you exactly which assignments are due when, and you can even click here to go to them. Now, I would recommend that you don't just spend the entire class time going to the calendar and clicking on the assignment, because everything is set up in modules, and I want you to go through things in a certain order. So this is a good tool to see when things are due, but please don't try to access everything through this. It makes it a little bit confusing for you guys, okay? All right, so let's jump into what else we're going to be doing. Over here on the inbox, if you click on that, that'll take you to, and it's denied because I'm in student view, this will take you to Canvas's email or messaging system, and here you're able to email me directly, okay? And over here, you'll see the Canvas Studio, which is where sometimes videos are posted. I usually embed all my videos right there in the page that we're working with, so you shouldn't have to click that too often. And then here on the Help tab, if you click on that, you can see here's the different resources that you have. So the first thing they tell you to search is the Canvas guides, because the Canvas guides are very thorough and they'll explain all the different features of Canvas. You can always submit a question to ask me. Right, and then we also have tech support. That's our campus, Citrus College tech support. And then here, this Canvas chat support. This is for you guys to be able to chat with Canvas support. All right, so if you're having a problem or you need help, you need them to walk you through, show you how to do something, you can always click on Canvas support and go through their chat support. Okay, so let's jump back into the course. So again, to get back to the course, you can just click on courses. It'll take us back to our course, and it'll take us straight back to that home page where we left off. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do when you come into the course is read this welcome page. It's kind of just a basic overview of the class, the books, pretty much the things that I covered in the welcome letter I sent you 2 weeks ago if you were enrolled at that point. but it's just a real brief overview of our format for the class. Okay, and then it says here, click on the introduction module, and that'll take you over to our introduction module. And you'll see here the different views. Okay, so now we've covered the global navigation. Let's talk a little bit about course navigation, and that's this menu right here on the white section. Okay, so the blue section is global navigation. The white section here is course navigation. Now, we're going to generally use these first few tabs that kind of stop at perusal for the first half of the class. And then later on, we'll use some of these library features. But we're going to start with these first ones. Okay, so again, home is where you go to get the landing page and where you're going to land every single time you come into the class. If you go into announcements, that's where you'll see all my announcements, and there's no announcements posted because the first announcement isn't set to go off until tomorrow. But you'll see all the different announcements that I post here throughout the semester. I don't delete them. They stay posted here in the announcements for you to be able to find them. And in my announcements is where I'll give you information like what we're doing for the whole week, or any clarification or certain instructions or reminders for office hours. So it's a really good idea to make sure you're checking our announcements frequently. Also, anytime I make an announcement, I have it set up so that it also goes to your campus email. So you'll get the announcement here in Canvas, right, if you go into it and click on announcements, but you can also see my announcement in your campus email, okay? If you click on modules, that takes you to basically where all of our course content is. All of our course content is located in modules. And there's two different ways of looking at modules. This version here is what we call kind of the zoomed out version, or the bird's eye view. And this gives you basically all the modules in the entire course, right? You can see all the SA1 stuff. And when I open a module, I open the entire thing. I don't open it by weeks. Okay, we're in the SA1 module. And so all the content for SA1, from the first day to the submission day and even the revision, it's all open for you guys to be able to see these different materials. Okay, it doesn't, like I said, I don't have weekly restrictions on these things. I just restrict it by the unit. So you'll be able to see the introduction items and the SA1 items. Okay, and then our other modules, SA2, 3, and 4, those will pop up and appear on your Canvas as they get released, as we enter those modules. Modules is also where you find the textbook. Okay, our textbook is called Successful College Composition, and it's an OER, which means it's an online educational resource, which means it's free. Okay, you can buy a print copy from the library, from our bookstore, but right here, you can get it for free. I have it both as a PDF and as a Word doc, and then here's the appendix to those. I also have your Drive Chapter 5 reading right here, and Orange is the New Black. Now, these are PDF versions, so if you have trouble seeing them, it's better for you to buy your own book. But I do have these resources here for you guys so that you can save a little bit of money. All right. So use these if you can. And then the next module that you'll see is writing resources. And this is where I keep things that relate to different writing topics like outlining or brainstorming. You can click on that and it'll give you some tips and tricks on brainstorming and outlining the parts of an SA1, which is going to be part of your assignment for SA1. You click on that and it'll take you to a page that goes through all the different parts of an essay. All right, and I have videos and explanations. Okay, let's go back to where we were. So that's the writing resources module. Okay, so you can always click through there and refresh your memory on some of these writing topics. The next module is the MLA module, and MLA is the formatting that we use in the discipline of English, and MLA stands for Modern Language Association. And you'll see for your very first assignment, I'm having you guys create an MLA template so that you can just copy it and use it anytime we have an assignment for this class, because every assignment that you do for me should be in MLA formatting unless it's a blog or a journal. Okay, so this section just goes over the basic formatting, and then as we start to get into working with text, there's some tips and tricks on how to do those in-text citations and the works cited page or bibliography page. So there's quite a few different resources here in MLA. So you don't have to go buy an MLA book. I have all the resources here for you for free. The next module here is the grammar/syntax/style module. And these cover just basically different grammar and sentence structure topics that you can look up. We'll get into the grammar stuff in a little bit here, but I don't do direct grammar instruction because it's tedious and it's boring and not everybody needs the same grammar help. So what we're going to be doing is I have you guys pick a grammar topic that you would like to learn more about. You find a resource, you read or watch that resource, and then you write a summary about it. So I have these different topics here in the grammar/syntax/style module. Okay, and then our last module in the course is additional resources, and here's where I have links to our writing center. Okay, I have links to our DSPS, counseling, the Student Health Center, right? Some other key offices here on campus. And then the last one is a link to the Glendora Public Library. So this is our module section. Like I said, this is where pretty much all of the content for a course is going to be found. Now, let me show you what I was talking about when I said there's kind of two different ways to view. So as I was saying, this is the bird eye view, right? Bird's eye view, where we're zoomed out and we can see all of the different modules. There's another view, and that's kind of the zoomed in view. And that's when you click on a page within a module. And for this one, we're just going to start right at the beginning. Okay, so this is our first page here in the introduction module. And what you will see is as you're finishing with the page, once you read through and do what you're supposed to do on each page, if you hit next, it takes you to the very next thing in the module. Okay, that way you don't have to click out to modules every time and then click back into the assignment. You can just read through and continue to go on to the next one. All right, preparing to use Canvas. And then when you're ready to move on to the next page, click next, and it'll take you to the very next page in the module. And this is a really good view because, like I said, it takes you through the content sequentially. And I have everything organized in sequence and organized by date. So like I said, you really don't want to use the calendar feature to just click and go directly to the assignment. You want to move through the module in the order in which I've set it up. However, you're not going to sit and do an entire module in one sitting, right? My modules are designed for an entire essay unit, which takes, anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. So let's say you left off, you finished with a few more notes and you read this whole page and you had enough for today. You're going to take a break and pick up doing your work again tomorrow. So what you can do is when you come back to this, let's say tomorrow, right, you come back to it, instead of you clicking here, online learning, or start here, preparing for online learning, you go to the module bird's eye view, right? And you left off here at a few more notes, you read that, and you can see there'll be check marks too that indicate that you looked at that page. And then this next one here, right, you can just click right on it. So like I said, instead of every time you go to modules, starting at the very first thing and then clicking through until you get to the page you want, come to the zoomed out version of modules, the bird's eye view, right? And then you can click directly where you want to go. And then from here, you can move within those pages, right? You can click on this and then click next, and it'll take you again, next. It'll take you all the way through. Okay, so that is kind of the basic navigation of modules. The next thing that I want to take you to is discussions. And discussions are where we're going to be doing a few different types of assignments. Our blogs, our journals, and our peer review assignments are going to be held as discussions. Now, I embed those discussions right within the module page. So you really don't ever even have to come click on discussions. But if you want to go back to an older blog, or if you want to see, what you've posted, or you just want to look at just the discussions and you don't want to look at the whole module, you can click on discussions. Okay, but you'll see for blog 1, you can access it here, or you can actually access it through modules. Like I said, I have everything embedded in those modules. You don't ever have to leave modules to get out and get content that you need. And if you do, I have it linked and it'll direct you to where I want you to go. But let's take a look at how to access those discussions. So you'll see right here in the introduction module, you have some reading to do these pages, and then we get into the introductory assignments. And you'll see you have the MLA template assignment, the syllabus reflection, the email check-in, a live Q&A survey, and that's just for me to know what days and times would work best if anybody's interested in doing some live sessions. And then the last 2 things in our introduction module are the blogs and the journals. And these are the discussions that we were just over here in discussions looking at, right? So you don't have to click discussions to get to the different blogs and journals. They'll be right here within the module. So if you click blog 1, it automatically takes you to the blog 1 discussion board. Okay. And so let's take a look at blog 1. So you can see for blogs, I have the instructions here. Blogs are going to be whole class discussions. Everybody's going to post. And the thing to know about blogs is that there are 2 dates. The date that you post your own original blog, and then you have to come back 2 days later on Sundays and comment to 2 other students in the class. So 2 dates. Blogs are due on Fridays by midnight, and your comments on other students' blogs are due Sundays by midnight. Okay, so Fridays and Sundays. Don't forget about that. And I'll put it in our announcements every week that you have those 2 due dates. But a lot of people forget to come back and comment. And in order for you to get full credit for this assignment, you have to do your post and make 2 comments on other students' blogs. Okay, so I explained to you guys, you can go ahead and read through the instructions here, what I'm looking for in the blog post, and I put the prompt right here. So for this first blog, I'm asking you to use this space to introduce yourself to the other students in the class, and to, let me know what you thought after reading through the syllabus or watching my syllabus video, what you think about the text that I've selected. And then I'm also asking you to share a picture or a video of an object that you use frequently or that has special meaning to you. And then for these first blogs and journals, I'm also offering an extra credit opportunity, which is an additional late or missing pass if instead of writing your blog post, you post a video. Okay, so if you post a video as your blog post, you get an extra late or missing pass. So let's take a look at the blog. So again, I have, links, helpful links for you guys here. And you'll see this is how the blogs look. All right. And so I answered the blog too. I participated. I always do in this first one, just so you guys can get to know who I am. So you'll see here's my blog post, right? Talking to you guys, telling you a little bit about myself. And I've included some pictures. Right. And then I also included a little video just to demonstrate to you guys how you can create a video comment. All right. So when you're ready to post your blog, this is how you do it. Okay. So this is the blog prompt. When you're ready to do your own blog, you're going to hit reply, and it pulls up the text box for you to be able to type your blog right here. Now, I'm going to cover this a couple different times throughout the course, but I never recommend writing your original text right here in this text box like this, because if the browser should crash, you lose all your work. So what I always tell people to do is to use a Google Doc or use a Word doc and do your work there first, and then just copy and paste into the blogs, into the journals, into the other assignments. That way your work is saved. Okay, because if the browser crashes and you're working on a text box, it doesn't save. Okay, so make sure you have that somewhere safer when you're writing it, and then just paste it over here in Canvas. All right. So then once you've finished your blog post, you would hit post reply. Okay, and you'll see it pops up right there. Okay, now let's say you've posted, you did this on Friday, now it's Sunday and you have to come back in and comment. Okay, and since I'm the only person here, we'll go ahead and comment on mine. So when you leave your comments for your other students, you don't click reply up here. Okay, that's to post the blog. You click reply on the person's blog. So you can like it, and that's always nice, but what I'm looking for is for you to hit reply and comment to them. Okay, and explain the comments up at the top. Should be about 50 words or so, and you should try to make some kind of meaningful comment or ask the question, right? So it could just be like, oh, what a cute cat. How old is he? Right, something like that. And then once you're done with your comment to your peer there, just go ahead and hit post reply. And you'll see the comment post right there beneath that person's blog. Okay. And then, like I said, you're able to post videos too. So if you wanted to do a video, instead of using the text box here and typing, what you would do is go over here to this button, right? And it says upload or record media or user media. If you click on this, upload or record media, it gives you the option to, like I said, record your blog right here in Canvas, and then it'll post it for you. Okay, so that's how you would upload a video blog. We'll just get out of here and hit cancel. So again, for blogs, you have 2 dates. Friday is the original post date. Comments to your peers are due on Sundays by midnight. Okay, and blogs are whole class discussion. So everybody in our giant class, and technically we're 2 classes combined into one shell. So everybody in our big giant class will be participating in these blog discussions. And then I have, you'll see the next assignment is journals. And journals are quite similar to blogs. However, it's a much smaller group. So in journals, you're not writing to the whole class. I have the whole class divided into groups, and each group has about eight or 9 students in it. Okay, and you'll be sticking with those same groups for the whole semester. And with those groups, you're going to be doing your journals, book club, and peer review assignments. Okay, so get to know these folks in your group, and they'll become kind of like your little team within our class. All right. So journals are a little bit more of a focused discussion, not with the whole class, but with like the 7 or 8 people that are in your group. Okay, so kind of the same format. You're going to get an explanation of what the journal is, and same thing, you can post videos instead of writing your journal or your comment. And I definitely encourage you guys to do that for journals, because journals are a little less formal, right? You're trying to kind of have a more intimate discussion with your group members. So I would really encourage you guys to post videos instead of writing for your journals. And then it also gives you a little bit of a break if you're just kind of feeling worn out from all the writing and you're going to do a ton of writing in this class. A video is a nice way to kind of break up some of that work and not feel overwhelmed with the amount of writing that you have to do. Okay, and if you choose to do a video, it should be about 3 minutes or so, no more than 5. Okay, and then the same thing, make sure you post comments, and it has the same format. All right, you'll see journal posts are due on Fridays, just like the blogs, and the comments to 2 other group mates are due on Sundays, just like the blogs. And you post the exact same way you did in the blog, right? You hit reply here to the blog prompt, and then you type your, or copy and paste your journal entry, and then hit post reply, right? And it posts for you. And then the same thing for commenting, right? When you want to comment on somebody's, and then hit post reply. And there you go. You have the original post and the comment. Okay, so this is how we do blogs and journals, and those are what Canvas considers discussions. All right, and then, like I said, we'll also be doing peer review as a discussion, but we'll talk about that and get to that later. The other tab that you're going to want to make sure you're checking frequently in this class is the grades. Okay, and you click on that, and it'll show you the status of your assignments. Okay, and once you read through my syllabus, you'll see I do a different grading system than a lot of other instructors you've worked with. I do contract grading, and basically I've eliminated points from this class. So everything is either complete or incomplete, and it needs to be done to certain standards. And if an assignment isn't done correctly, instead of you getting a 0, I'll just have you redo it. Okay, so you'll always have the opportunity to grow and to learn, and there's no punishments for late work, and there's no point penalties for late work because I got rid of points. All right, now Canvas makes us use points, so everything is going to be basically at a 1 point. And that's what you'll see here, but forget about that. Forget about points. Don't worry about the points. What you want to see is, that you get a check mark here, that it's complete. Okay, and you'll see these little bubbles here. Because I haven't graded it yet, right? These bubbles show that you did post, but it just hasn't been graded. And so if there's a blank line here too, kind of same thing, it hasn't been submitted or it hasn't been graded. The only time you want to worry is if you see an X, okay? An X means it's missing, and it'll tell you, it actually stamps it, and we'll put a missing stamp right here in red to indicate that that assignment is missing for you. All right. So again, I do encourage you to look at this frequently, make sure you're keeping track of your assignments, making sure you're turning them in, and that you're turning them in to the quality that they're supposed to be. So this is where you come to access grades. And then in the syllabus, if you click on that, this is where you'll find our course syllabus. And I have them here for both classes listed, but down at the bottom, if we scroll all the way to the bottom, I also have Google Doc versions of each CRN. Okay, it's essentially the same. The only thing that changes on the syllabus is really just the number right here. But what I have done for you guys is, instead of doing the traditional syllabus that you sit and you read through, I've taken all the main information and I've created a little 25-minute video. So I would encourage you guys to check out the video. All right. You can always come and read the whole full syllabus if you still have any questions, or you want a little bit more detail. But here's the video syllabus, and that's part of one of our first assignments is the syllabus reflection. Okay. Assignments is where you go to see all of the assignments. But like I said, you don't really need to do that because everything's there for you in modules. But let's say you did want to look for a certain assignment. You didn't want to scroll through modules and try to find it. You can click on assignments and search for that specific assignment and just go straight to it. So let's say you were looking for rough draft. And there you go. You just type in rough and it'll pull up all the different assignments that have the word rough in it. And let's say we wanted to go to Essay 1, Rough Draft 1, and Peer Review. There it is. You can click on it from here, and it will take you straight to this assignment. Okay, so that's the Assignments tab. Perusal is something that we're going to be using in the first essay module for 2 different readings, and I actually explain how to use Perusal and how to access that in my reading strategies explanation video in the reading strategies section of the Essay 1 module. Okay, so from there you can also see we have a Confer Zoom. I normally use the Zoom that's not built into our Canvas, and so I'll just send you guys the link to the Zoom sessions if we have any, or for office hours if you guys want to meet with me and meet up on Zoom. We also have a class chat, so if I'm ever on here and you're on here and you want to chat with me, you can totally do that. Just be advised that it is a public chat, right? It's not a private chat. You're going to be chatting with me, but other people can see it, and you can chat with other folks as well. So if you just post right here, let's take a look at this. You'll see here's the little box, and you just hit send, and you'll see it posts right there under the test student test. Okay, but like I said, this is public, so whatever you're putting here, everybody who's in the chat can see it. So if you're looking for a more private conversation, make sure you email me or sign up for office hours to request a private meeting with me. And then over here, let's get out of chat. Over here, I have a link to our library, and we'll get more into using the library when we hit our essay 3, working with Orange is the New Black and looking at prison and criminal justice system here in the United States. All right. And then, like I said, some of these other resources are going to be used once we get into that research. And then I also have the links here to Google Drive and Office 365. You can link your Google Drive or your Office 365 account to Canvas and then upload your Google Docs and or your Office 365 Word docs right here into Canvas. And it's really handy. I do that for some of the stuff for you guys too. All right, so let's take a look at kind of the layout of the modules too, and then we'll be done with our little tour. So let's go back over to modules. And I just kind of want to show you guys how the modules are laid out. So the introduction module is a little bit different because obviously it's an introduction module. So you have here these pages that you're reading, right? This is the online learning and etiquette. So, learning about online learning. And then here under introductory assignments is where I have these first few assignments, right? The MLA template, syllabus, reflection, check-in, Q&A survey, and the first blog and journal. Then from there, you're going to move straight into the Essay 1 module. And all the essay modules will be designed like this. The very first thing that I have is going to be an essay overview, or the unit overview. The very next page will be the essay prompt overview, where it explains what we're doing for that essay, for that unit. And then you'll see this heading here, Essay 1 assignment sheet and grid. The assignment sheet is the essay prompt. Okay, the assignment grid is the essay calendar. So let's just take a look at what these things are. So again, we'll click here. Let's just start from the very beginning so you guys can see. Unit 1 overview, just take a read through, see what we're doing. I explain what we're doing for this, what we're working on. I have a little video here that talks about the Unit 1. Let's get over here. This kind of just gives you a brief kind of overview of the essay. But as we get into the assignment sheet, now this is the actual essay prompt, right? That tells you the due date, what specifically we're going to be looking for this essay, the text that we're using, right? Here's the actual prompt, and so on. So then we can move on to our next section, which is the assignment grid, which, as I just said, is the calendar, right? This lists out all of the different assignments that we have for this entire unit. And I'll need to reset this so that it works for you guys, but you can click right here on the assignment grid and it'll pull it up for you guys, and you can see every assignment and when it's due for this entire essay unit. So from now until March 22nd, when the essay 1 is going to be, when it's due. Okay, I list out everything so you guys can see and you can plan ahead. And I really recommend that you guys do this, that you look and see what assignments you have for the week and what's coming up the next week. That way you can really plan and budget, because again, this is a 5-unit class, right? And then I'm not telling you guys to scare you. I just want you to be prepared and understand that because it's a 5-unit class, there is, a bit more work than your standard 3-unit class or 4-unit class, right? There is more work involved. So it's going to become important that you make blocks of time for yourself where you can get the work done. And looking at this calendar and previewing is really going to be helpful to you when you're trying to make your schedule, all right? Because this is an asynchronous class, which means we don't have any live sessions that you're required to attend. I would like to do some live sessions with you guys later on after you submit that survey, and I see when most of you can do it. But we don't have live sessions, so it's really more of an independent sort of structure to this class. So that's again why it becomes important for you to read through our assignment calendar and plan out your week and your days and how you're going to accomplish getting this work done. Okay, so let's jump here. Let's go back out to that bird's eye view again. So again, I can show you how the whole module breaks down. So again, you can see Essay 1 overview, unit overview, essay overview. Then we have the assignment sheet, the assignment grid, and then you'll see this next heading, this next section is where we have all the readings and reading activities for this unit, okay? And you definitely want to start with the reading strategies overview, and I have a little video for you to watch there. I explain what the different reading strategies are and how to actually submit some of these assignments, okay? And then the next section, after we get beyond the reading, we shift into the drafting stage. So the first stage of any essay is reading. We go through the reading stage. We read these different texts. We have discussions. We break down the text. There'll be quiz. Don't panic. Open book, open note, untimed quizzes. All right. And then after we do all of that, after we get our reading part done, then we transition into drafting, okay? And then you'll see under drafting materials is where I have our next set of assignments, right? The brainstorm, student samples, and please make sure you review samples before you start your own draft. I always include student samples, and I include quite strong student samples, and I usually have a guided video. And I show you guys exactly why these student samples are strong representations of the kind of work that I'm looking for. So I highly recommend looking at the student samples, like I said, before you go do the assignment yourself. It gives you an idea of what I'm looking for. And then you'll see we do various drafts. You have a conference with me where you send in a section of your paper and I review it for you. And then we get into our last couple things, which is the essay and the grammar unit. And as I said earlier, I don't do direct grammar instruction, right? It's an independent grammar project that you work on for each essay unit in this class. So you'll do one for essay 1, 2, 3, and 4. And here's what you do, right? You're gonna pick a topic that you want to learn more about. And I encourage you to really pick something that you want to know more about, or that you're really, you're not quite sure if you know the rules, like commas, right? A lot of us don't know how to use commas. You're just kind of like, oh, I'll just put one here and here and here, and kind of sounds like there's a pause, I'll put one there. There's actually rules to commas. And if you're someone that doesn't know those rules, that'd be a great thing to pick, right? Especially for essay 1. And so let's say you did pick for essay 1 comma use, then what you would do is head over to the grammar, syntax, style folder and take a look at some of the resources I have there on commas, or take a look at your textbook, or ask our tutor for some guidance, or check out some resources on the internet and look for reliable, credible sources. And then after you take a look at that video or read that article or whatever it is, whatever source it was that you found, you're going to write a 1-page response explaining 2 things that you learned from whatever resource it was that you picked out, an article or a PowerPoint or a YouTube video explaining commas, right? And then on your assignment, be sure to note the topic you are researching and the resource. So if you did go to a website or a YouTube video, please make sure you include the URL so I can find it and go check out that resource too. And here are a list of topics that I recommend, or common topics for the grammar unit: comma splices, run-ons, fragments, basic comma usage. And for comma usage, there's a ton of different ways to use commas. You don't have to use all the comma rules for this. You can just pick a few different comma rules. Semicolons, sentence types, apostrophe, commonly confused words like there, the twos, right? Two. Colon use, sentence variety, misplaced and dangling modifiers, parallelism, and this last one I think is really neat, and I encourage you guys to check this out too. Other grammars, right? Standard American English, what we use in college courses, isn't the only type of English. And there are a lot of really interesting dialects in America, and I would encourage you guys to check out African American English, also known as Ebonics, or Chicano English, or Tech Speak, or Leet Speak. And same thing, just look up, research what those things are, and write me a 1-page reflection of what you learned, what these different grammars and speech patterns are, and that totally counts as our grammar, syntax, style assignment. All right. Now note, please only choose one topic. Last semester I had some people that were trying to pick like, commas and apostrophes. No, don't do that. Pick one thing, right? Just pick one thing and focus on that one thing. You can save apostrophes for the next essay, right? Or the one after that. But don't try to cram a bunch of topics into this because it's just really a one-page reflection on something that you learned. And like I said, pick something that you really want to learn how to do. If you don't know how to use commas, look up how to use commas. If you've always heard of semicolon, but you don't know quite what it is or how we use it, click on check out semicolon use and see how we use those things. It's actually a really handy punctuation mark. Pick things you really are interested in learning about. Don't just pick comma splices or run-ons because they're the first two things here. Look through this list or think about what you're unfamiliar with, or if it's spelling, maybe you can add spelling on here. If there's another topic that you don't see listed that you would like to cover for this grammar assignment, shoot me a text or an email or come see me in office hours and we can discuss that, and I'll probably give you approval to do that. All right, so that's what we do for that grammar assignment. All right, so let's jump back out into modules. And I wanted to take you over here to our first couple of assignments, and then, like I said, then we'll wrap up our tour here. So the first assignment that I have you guys doing is creating an MLA template. And I have you doing that for a specific reason. And that reason is everything we do in this class is going to be in MLA formatting. And every English class that you take, no matter where you take it around the world, uses MLA formatting. It's our discipline standard. Modern Language Association is the association that governs the discipline of English, and we use this type of formatting. And it's different than like APA, which is used in psychology classes, child development classes. MLA is what you're going to use in your English classes. So what a lot of students will do is they open a document and they have to set up the MLA every single time. That's a huge waste of your time, right? You're going to have to do this over and over and over in this class. So what I want you to do is set up a template. You're going to set up MLA one time. And then every time you have an assignment to do in my class, just copy that template, right? Copy it, and there you go. Your formatting is done. So what we're going to do for this first assignment is I'm going to have you guys take a look at these tutorials, right? And take a look at the sample that I provided for you guys here. And you're going to create your own MLA template. And then you're going to submit the assignment, all right? And as long as you complete it, you get credit. And what I'll do is I'll give you feedback so that you can then correct your template. And that way it's right. And you don't have to worry about fixing that template or fixing that your MLA every single time you write something. Let's get your template done and make sure it's correct right now at the beginning of the semester. And then, like I said, for the rest of the semester, you have, a perfectly set up MLA formatted paper. All right. So really quickly, let's go through to our next one. So after the MLA assignment is the syllabus reflection. And so you're either going to read the syllabus or watch the syllabus video, which will be linked here for you. You see right down here. So either read the paper syllabus or watch the video and write a one-page minimum. It should be minimum of one page, one full page. Most students go over that, so don't panic if you go over one page. That's totally fine. You can write as many pages as you need to answer my questions. So you're going to write a response to these 8 questions here. Okay, and I do not want just a list of these questions and one-word answers. I want your response to actually be full sentences and paragraphs, almost like a little mini essay. Okay, now don't start panicking and think I'm gonna, take you down for grammar, spelling, all that kind of stuff. No. This is just an informal reading and writing assignment. I want to see how much you took away from my syllabus, and I want to see, what kind of writing skills you have. But you get full credit as long as it's at least one full page and it's written in complete sentences and paragraphs and actually answers all of these questions. Okay, so that's the syllabus reflection. The next assignment is the email check-in. And for the email check-in, you just got to, once you email me and you're just checking in one word, what's the one word you have to describe this class? or how you're feeling about this class or school in general, right? And feel free to be honest. It's okay. I know everybody struggles with math and English classes. So you might be scared or intimidated or nervous, or you might just feel tired and overwhelmed. It doesn't matter to me. Pick your one word, be honest, and send me the email. And that just kind of establishes contact for me. And it also lets me see how you guys are feeling about class and how you're feeling about starting a new semester, especially as we're heading into yet another semester in this pandemic. So as long as you send in your email with your one word, and then you come over here and you click mark as done, then you're good. Okay, you get the credit, and then you can move on to the next thing, which is a live Q&A survey. Just go ahead and fill that out for me. Go ahead and fill that out for me. And then we get into our blogs. Okay, and I've already explained how to post a blog. All right, and in my reading strategies overview is where I really give you guys a good demonstration of how to submit assignments. So we didn't cover it here in the Canvas overview, the Canvas tour, but please make sure you look at my reading strategies overview page and watch that video as it demonstrates how to submit different assignments. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out our Canvas tour. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to shoot me a text via Remind. Okay, text that code to Remind, sign up for Remind, and then you can text me or shoot me an email. You can also reach out to our tutors. We'll talk a little bit more about that after I get them all set up here in Canvas and we get their hours. And yeah, let's have a great semester. All right, guys, I'll see you soon.